Today on the GrandLAN video blog, Daredevil, Secret Invasion, Amazing Spider-Man, True Believers, Amazing Spider-Man, X-Factor, Runaways, and Captain America. Hi everyone, it's Craig. Welcome to the GrandLAN video blog for October 22nd, 2008. I'm going to try to review 8 Marvel books in 10 minutes or less. Let's see if I can make it. First up, Daredevil, number 112. Part 2 of the Lady Bullseye story, and this is progressing along very nicely. I'm very excited. Ed Brubaker, you know, I kind of lost my love for Daredevil a little bit, but this is right back. Brubaker and Lark, it's my old Gotham Central team, and they're telling a really good story. I don't know if it necessarily needs the hype, but it's definitely picking up. It's definitely moving a lot faster than most of the Daredevil stories that, you know, as we're familiar with from the Bendis run and now the Brubaker run. Ultimately, very well done. Very exciting to see where this is going. Hopefully the next story arc is also this good, and I might stay with the book again, because it felt like I wasn't missing anything when I dropped it the first time. This is a good chance to pick it back up, so if you've dropped Daredevil or if you haven't been on Daredevil, it's only issue 2 of the story. Pick up 111 and then check out 112. Next up, Secret Invasion, number 7. If you're looking for a big fight scene, this is the place to be. It is just a 22-page fight scene. It's really well done. Leinil Yu knocks it out of the park with just beautiful artwork. The whole fight is just really well done. It feels like even when there's no dialogue, you're still following very well. You can just make sense of all of it. Some artists lack that visual storytelling ability. You know, they draw, okay, this guy's standing in this position and I'm supposed to have him say that, etc., etc. Leinil Yu definitely shows why he was chosen for this big event. Now, you know, I kind of thought he was a bad choice at the start. He's definitely earned it here. Some interesting twists. As you know, in issue 6, they said, you know, there's going to be something to do with the Wasp. We still have the Wasp or whatever. That's kind of revealed here, and I'm not going to say it really because I know Brad's already read it, but you may not have. And I don't quite know exactly what's going on myself, so I guess there's really nothing for me to spoil.
All you need to know is OMG.
Exactly, OMG. Good book. Number 8's going to just even be hotter. It's good stuff. On the exact opposite of the spectrum, Secret Invasion, Amazing Spider-Man, Brand New Day, Not Brand New Day, number 3 of 3. This is a boring book. Again, Brian Reed goes and does the really bad recap page where Spider-Man's fighting in Central Park, and he's like, well, this book actually happens during Secret Invasion number 3, and the Skrulls are like, what? Number 3? What is he talking about? Seriously, that happens on page 1. It's really disappointing. The story, of course, wraps up, and unlike the tease at the end of issue 2 where somebody's gonna die, nobody dies. Ultimately, it's an inconsequential story, and it ends with Sarah Eric calling Jackpot on the phone.
Who?
Sarah Eric. You know, the person who's supposedly Jackpot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
But, I mean, that just leads into next week's Amazing Spider-Man Annual. So, other than that, you could probably pick that all up next week in the Amazing Spider-Man Annual. You really didn't need this to watch a really bad fight. Oh, and there's a really terrible scene where Dexter Bennett scolds a Skrull. He just sits there and he goes, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And the Skrull goes, it's a Skrull. It's a war machine. It has the powers of 6 supervillains. Why would it stop and listen to an editor-in-chief of a tabloid magazine? Exactly. Bad book. True Believers, number 4. Again, my disappointment is very clear with this book. It started out as such a good idea. It seemed like, you know, I was asking myself, why aren't they publicizing this? Why isn't this really just up in the forefront of the Marvel Universe? Well, obviously, Cary Bates and Paul Gulacy have really just chosen to talk about lower things and really drive the focus away from the True Believers as their muckraking journalists and their, you know, radical website, and go more about internal drama. The main character, I forget her name, Livewire? Is that
Payback.
what it is? Payback. I don't know why I said Livewire. But anyways, Payback is in a coma, and she basically remembers the histories of the other three, to awkwardly fill in the three backstories. This is like the episode of the TV show where they all go, "Hey, remember that time?" And then they flash back into previous clip
They're
shows.
stuck in a freezer?
Yeah, it's just a clip show. Exactly.
Why are we walking this way?
That's fun for an ongoing series, but not an issue 4 or 5 of a miniseries. And then, of course, Bates realizes, hey, I've got one more issue. I better have a big twist at the end. Surprise, big twist at the end. Not surprising at all. Kind of disappointing. This is letting me down. Hopefully issue 5 wraps it up in at least a moderately satisfying package, but they've fallen a long way from the drunken Reed Richards. Alright, that's 4 books. Number 5, Amazing Spider-Man 574, New Ways to Die is over. Now we get a one-off story about Flash Thompson, about being in the Iraq War. This is good in terms of a tribute to the soldiers story. It's nice. It's an interesting development for the Flash Thompson character. Ultimately, I think it is obviously outside of the Brand New Day, which, it was about time that they dropped that tag anyway. So, it's a good story. I'm not really going to say, it's not too heavy-handed. It doesn't get really, really political. But it could have been a special. I know Marvel's already going overboard on the specials, but this could have been a special. It feels like filler for a book whose entire draw is 3 times a week. There's no ongoing... 3 times a month, yes, sorry. I wish it was 3 times a week.
Yikes.
But the draw is that, 3 times a month we're going to get a Spider-Man story. That's very important. It drives forward this new status quo with Vin Gonzalez and the DB and Dexter Bennett and all these characters and Jackpot and blah, 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 blah. This has nothing to do with it. This is the type of stuff. Brand New Day Extra had more content than this book did in terms of, furthering the status quo or furthering Spider-Man's storyline and his surroundings. So this is a nice Flash Thompson story, and I'm not going to say it's a bad story. Guggenheim and Kitson do an amazing job with it. But overall, it's not the book that I expected to pick up. Wonder how I'm doing on time. X Factor, number 36. Did you know Peter David and Larry Stroman have Visionaries collections about their first run? Visionaries collections, people. I know Stroman's art doesn't make sense, and everybody has hips, and it's kind of bizarre. This ultimately is well done. The story is amazing. This is what all of Peter David's writing should be, because he is capable of it. Unlike She-Hulk, which is terrible. It's very interesting, the things that he's doing with Darwin. This is a really good character that Brubaker created and kind of fell by the wayside because he wasn't Vulcan. But anyways, this is just really, really interesting. It's right where the book is supposed to be. I've said enough about it, really. It's X Factor. It's noir. It's Detroit. It's a detective story. That's what it is. If you're not reading it, I don't know. You're missing out. It's a good stuff. Runaways. We got one more bad book to talk about. Runaways number 3. Hey, that's a cute cover where Molly throws Chase because Chase is playing Guitar Hero. That's what the kids do nowadays, don't you know? Terry Moore, not at all there. This book is more talking. This book is more standing around going, oh, well, we've got this bad guy and we've held him hostage, but I don't know, I guess we're all going to go work on projects or have parties and do other things because we're not going to deal with it. Again, if this is a mini-series, which it might not be, I could be wrong, but if it's an ongoing, it's a wasted issue. If it's a mini-series, it's even more of a wasted issue. Overall, again, this has been very disappointing. There's more action in a single issue of Runaways, of Brian Vaughn's Runaways, than there have been in 3 entire issues, and probably 3 more in Terry Moore's Runaways. It's really, really weak. The characters are there, nothing's happening. It's very poor. Not happy about it. What I am happy about, Ed Brubaker's Captain America, of course. Number 43. We've jumped forward in time. The whole death of Captain America story is behind us. There's still a little Steve Rogers in the back. Obviously, he was so instrumental to creating Bucky, but